Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Jenna. I have two little girls, ages 4 and 6. I just wanted to start this YouTube channel to kind of give you guys maybe some hints and tips and tricks about fitness, eating healthy, motherhood, organizing, a little bit of homeschool. We are very new to homeschool, so it would probably be more of me just letting you guys know what we have found that works, types of curriculum that we like so far, just those sorts of things. So this first video, I wanted to give you guys 5 tips on how to kind of get back on track on your healthy eating game. Maybe you've kind of let things slide a little bit, now your pants are fitting a bit tight, and you need to kind of rein things in and get back on track. So tip number 1, identify your biggest issue as far as your eating habits go. For me personally, that's going to be my sweet tooth. So I know that if I am not mindful of it, or I don't kind of have a game plan and to start out with, then it's real easy for me to all of a sudden be like, oh my god, my pants are tight. So the first thing I do is just kind of figure out an action plan and what you plan to do about that, and try to eliminate or at least reduce that habit as much as possible. So for my sweet tooth, I first of all like to make sure that I eat enough at dinner time, or a well-balanced diet, and I feel like that helps those kind of snacky sweet cravings at night. Also, instead of maybe having something sweet at night, I'll have some tea, or maybe even a diet soda, which is not the healthiest thing in the world, but it's definitely better than eating half a sleeve of Oreos. Or I'll just keep things on hand that are already portion controlled, or things that I feel are easier to kind of have a little bit of dark chocolate and be satisfied. So that's the first tip, is just identify what your biggest issue is. Maybe it's soda, maybe it's eating out, maybe it's those couple of drinks at night. Whatever that is, try to identify the one thing that you feel like you can get the most bang for your buck by changing that habit, and just focus on that to start out with. A lot of times you try to do too much at once and try to overhaul everything, and then it just becomes too overwhelming and you just quit. So if you just kind of identify that one thing, you will usually start to see a little bit of movement on the scale, or your pants will start fitting better in a couple of weeks, just by adjusting that one habit. Tip number 2, make sure that you are getting fruits and vegetables at every meal. It's a lot easier to be satisfied when you are eating fruits and vegetables, as well as keeping the calories down a little bit in your meals, just because they are very filling. You get all the water and fiber from the fruits and vegetables, so it's easier to kind of eat more of an appropriate amount of food for you, as opposed to if you're eating, say, a protein bar or something like that, which is 250 calories, and you can still be hungry. As opposed to eating an apple for a snack, it's probably going to hold you over a lot more than the protein bar. Tip number 3 is to make sure that you are also eating enough protein at every meal. Protein is what's going to really keep you satisfied, as well as it's going to make sure that you're maintaining muscle if you are cutting calories a little bit. So obviously, the more muscle you keep, the higher your metabolism is going to be, because muscle does burn more calories than fat. So you want to make sure that you are keeping the muscle that you have, as well as making it easier on yourself by not being hungry all the time and consuming adequate amounts of protein. Tip number 4, make sure you are drinking enough water. This is going to help for a lot of reasons. First of all, sometimes when you're hungry, or you think you're hungry, you're actually just thirsty. So make sure that you drink a big glass of water before you have a meal, or if you feel like maybe you weren't that satisfied from your meal, try drinking a big glass of water. waiting a few minutes and seeing how that goes. It's also going to help you flush out any kind of bloat that you might have if you were eating things that were really high in sodium. And it's just going to give you more energy in general. If you're not dehydrated, being dehydrated can definitely kind of cause your energy to drop, and then it's easier to crave kind of like the junk food that's going to give you that quick pick-me-up. So just making sure that you're hydrated is really going to help control your appetite, make sure you're flushing out all of that stuff that you were probably eating that was causing you to hold on to a little bit of water, and it will really help you kind of get back on track. And tip number 5, counting calories and macros and portion sizes can be a little daunting, especially when you're a mom. I feel like you already have so many things that are on your plate and that are on your mind that the added like having to count out your food and portion out everything perfectly, it's too much. Like I don't have the mental capacity for it. I'm sure you don't want to live your life like that. So I find that the easier way to do it is if you're eating kind of whole foods, just having a general idea of what an appropriate portion size for you will be at each meal and kind of trying to stick to that. And then it's pretty easy to kind of make sure that you're getting the right amount of calories every day. So for instance, for protein, usually like the size of the palm of your hand, which is about 4 ounces or so per person, 4 to 6 ounces depending on the person, is usually a good amount of protein. So protein about the size of the palm of your hand. Carbohydrates, say like your cupped fist, it's going to be about a half cup or so, something like that, is usually an appropriate amount of carbohydrate per meal. And then fats is usually this, like the size of your thumb or something like that, sticking to that with the protein, carbohydrates, and fat. And then just having, unlimited amounts of vegetables to kind of like fill you up and make sure that you're satiated. And then kind of using fruits before the like junky type food if you're having like sugar cravings. I find that a lot of times just having some fruit can really help cut down on those sugar cravings as opposed to like automatically reaching for the cookie. So that's it for my 5 tips to kind of get back on track. Again, start out with the first one, just the one, like identify your worst habit, whether it's like soda, fast food, maybe late night snacking, the drinks. Just cut out that one thing and just kind of let that work into your habit for a couple weeks until it's like not so painful. Usually you'll start to see some really good results from just that, and then kind of being more mindful of all the other things, making sure you're getting your fruits and vegetables, drinking adequate amounts of water, enough protein for you to feel satisfied and also to keep your muscle mass. And then just being aware of what your portion sizes are at each meal and trying not to like skip meals all the time. Like, so you don't get to that point where you're like so hungry you're about to eat your hand off, because then at that point it's really hard to make good decisions. So I hope those are helpful. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave those down below and I will try to answer you. And I will see you next time. Bye.